Good morning, Mocha Marbles, and welcome to today's show. We are so excited to have each and every one of you. I'm Liz Everett in for Keisha Boyd, and this is, well, Keisha's Cafe Con Leche, but today it could be my Cafe Con Leche. Jorge!
Good morning, Mocha Marbles, and good morning to you, Liz Everett. Thank you for doing like a double duty today, because I know like immediately after this show, you got to glamorize and get to your show.
Yes, and I'm super excited, honestly, as always, to be on Mocha in the Morning. And yes, right after this, we have the Fab Lab, and then following that, we have the Valtrinda Show.
Right. So tell me, it's been about a week now since like daylight savings time, which I still don't understand like why we do this. Like still, like it's not like I'm out there with a plow waiting on my crops, But like it actually works out better for me. Like I like it like this, even though I like it, even though I like nighttime, but for whatever reason, like mentally, physically, on my nervesly, this is a better situation.
I fully agree, honestly, for real. Yes, I like this better. However, I am having a hard time adjusting, but I do feel more energetic. I don't know if any of you guys are like me, but I feel totally.
Well, look, even our background got brighter. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And let me tell you, on Monday, which was National Napping Day, I needed all the naps. I'm not going to lie to you.
I can't even believe there is a national like napping day. Like
I think there's a national day for everything now.
Yeah, that's a lot. And as a matter of fact, there was a headline that we were just talking about this. And because our producer always likes to like throw out like real news flashes like right before we go on air. Because we are live, so she'd be trying it like that. But anyway, there's a growing bipartisan support for making the clock switching a thing of the past. So can we just make that partisan and be like, yeah, can we make it a thing of the past? It's like a relic. We don't need to be doing that anymore. But you just go to yahoo.com because the Senate just passed a bill making like daylight savings time permanent.
I'm here for it because honestly, I have enough things to worry about in my life. I don't need to be worrying about whether or not the clock is right and whether or not I'm getting up on time when I have to go to work. Thank you.
And speaking of work, we're going to be like wrapping up our season like really soon.
Yes. And it's been so amazing. I mean, Mocha Media Network is really growing. Mocha in the Morning is where I started. So to really be creating our own new show with the Fab Lab this year, it was just so incredible. And 13 episodes in, like that's nuts, but really exciting. I hope you guys have been enjoying watching.
Yeah. Congratulations. A lot of the feedback that I get from like your show is how knowledgeable like not only you, but your co-host, Stephanie J, but then all the other guests, like y'all get into like the real detailed like tea about like all that. Like y'all was studying books and pulling out facts and statistics. And I'm like, it's just not about like accessories and whatnot to wear after Labor Day. Like it's like real information. Like I'm like, ooh, I'd be taking notes. I'm like, oh, okay. So
well, you know how it is, honey. On the Fab Lab, we like to serve you the fashion tea, the real tea, the inside, the stuff that Vogue skims over because, we're running around New York City with the folks who are doing thing,
That's true. Yeah. No, I get it. I totally get it. And, you're right. The things that they skim over, unlike this show, we are fully lactated. We do not just skim on the show, but before anything, we always have coffee. Although some of you do not require any of that. We'll be right back.
Well, I guess you can stay tuned after the show to get the fashion tea. But for right now, you're fully lactated on Mocha in the Morning. But first, coffee. Welcome back, Mocha Marvels. We are ready to jump into our steamers. It's me and officially Jorge. Let's get
Hey,
into
everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. So, are you ready for everything that's happening in Black Hollywood and entertainment?
I sure am. I hope you guys are.
Well, check this out. The Oscars are coming, and that's on March the 27th. You'll be able to watch that on ABC, 8 p.m. They just announced some fabulous Mocha Marvels as presenters, and they are Tracy Ellis Ross, Sean Diddy Combs, or whatever name he wants to go by. It might be different by the time the Oscars get here. Halle Berry. They're also going to hand out awards. You have Samuel L. Jackson, Tyler Perry. So come on, Mocha presenters at the Oscars. I mean, we have to find a way to not make it so skim milk.
Not skim milk.
So
absolutely.
You know,
and they also have Ruth E. Carter, who is an incredible costume designer, Lupita Nyong'o, and we already know Rosie Perez is back,
right, and good for her. So you know, maybe we'll watch it this time.
Will we?
Or maybe not. But anyways, we'll be back to talk about it. We come Mocha in the morning. All right, so let's talk about what's happening on blackenterprise.com. You can read this story, and that is Time comes out with their 2022 Women of the Year. You want to know who's on that list?
I sure do.
All right, so Allison Felix, Amanda Gorman, Sherilyn Ifill, Kerry Washington. What? I mean, like, come on, Women of the Year, amongst others. You can go to blackenterprise.com. You know, the one that sticks out to me is Amanda Gorman, being the youngest poet. And I mean, just let me tell you what she did at the inauguration and like who she is like now. I mean, talk about like the glow up of all glow ups, right?
Absolutely. The modern day Maya Angelou, many have called her. And, you know, the incredible and intelligent thing that Time magazine did was out of all 12 nominees, 6 of them are Black women of color. So we're really excited about that. And, you know,
chop.
You know, 50%. let's add in that Amanda herself, you know, is elevating the potential of poetry, darling. You know, right? Very influential.
Like there was a time where people didn't even know what a poem was, and now they're like, oh, let me get into this. I mean,
that's a little bit of tea right there, Jorge.
Right, it's so true. You know, but Sheila Breen, and then the other one that sticks out to me is Kerry Washington. And I mean, this actor, entertainer, I mean, come on. But like, I really think that in watching Kerry Washington in Scandal, like I kind of feel like as a viewer, as like a citizen of the United States, I kind of feel like I know how goes down in the White House.
Absolutely. Well, I'm here for Allison Felix because Allison Felix did a lot of work with Nike and just kind of not being afraid to lose her contract, not being afraid to say, hey, I'm a mom, I'm super valuable, and I'm a woman of color. So I'm just a huge fan of what she's done to forward women's rights in the area of athletics.
So congratulations to all the women who made it into this issue. All right. Let's talk about something that, you know, when we first heard the news, you know, we just, it was very sad. We all know that the Braxton family has lost their fabulous sister, Tracy, and her husband is finally, you know, coming. You can read the story on essence.com. You know, anytime you deal with, you know, death, like on any level, you know, just people need their time and their space. And so, I mean, wow, they were together for over 25 years. And again, whenever you watch these reality shows and it involves everyone's like family members, you kind of like watch them live their life out and you feel like you are like a part of their family because you're always at the cookout, you're always at the wedding, you're always at the baby showers, you're always there when they first buy their house, you're always there when they're fighting. So you kind of feel like, you know, you are part of that whole situation. So I can only imagine what the loss of Tracy must feel like in their family, and especially to her husband, her surviving husband.
Yeah, she really had a really tough battle with cancer as well. And I really cannot imagine what it feels like. Condolences to the Braxton family. And, you know, Toni also did a really touching tribute, as well as her husband doing touching tribute. So blessings to her and her family.
And let's talk about something that's very super touching. We can all read this on NBCnews.com. Ludacris. This is what I love. Like, you know, true artists are all about evolution, right? And I mean, you have Ludacris, who is a father and has created this this project for his daughter called Karma's World, which is about a young Black girl going through the things that young Black girls go through. He wanted to do this to not only inspire, do something super legit for his daughter, and like, I mean, just part of the legacy, you know what I mean? And right now it's like, I mean, it's a hit on Netflix. Isn't that really cool though? Karma's World. And
it really
they tackle, is. Yeah, and it tackles some heavy duty subject matter. But yeah, you know, little girls need to know what the real tea is. So I'm very proud. Like, that's super awesome for Ludacris to actually invest that kind of not only time and money, but thought.
Yeah.
Because any, you know, yeah.
He's in 190 countries at 22 languages as well. So like, let's just, you know what I mean? There are like little brown girls all over the world who really get to see this representation. And that is really so cool, so smart too, for him to continue to evolve. And he really said that he feels like now, you know, this show like this and a narrative like this is needed now more than ever. And he wanted to do something that allowed his daughters to see themselves. So, you know, the best art is always created out of necessity, something that people really need and something that makes people feel. So kudos and congratulations to you, Chris Ludacris Bridges, for doing the thing.
Right. I love the way he's bridging his career to this content that is going to inspire a lot of Black girl magic all over the world. All right. So, oh, you're so going to love this steamer. So Ralph Lauren has come out with a limited edition collection that honors the Spellhouse legacy. I want to know how you feel about that.
Well, I love it because Ralph Lauren's entire brand is built off of legacy, right? And so a lot of times when we see the imagery for it, the thing that people are really drawn to is that they feel like, you know, they're part of the family crest, you know, all those things. So I love that they are honoring the legacy of Spellman and Morehouse and really bringing those things together. It's the first collaboration of its kind. And, you know, it's rich in heritage and really like esteemed traditions, which is really great to see a company like a fashion house, if you will, like Ralph Lauren, honoring the traditions that historically Black colleges and universities have brought to the Black community, because what people don't realize is HBCUs were the hope, you know, of almost a Black bourgeoisie, if you will, because we weren't allowed that in any other place. So kudos to Ralph. You know, huge congratulations on how beautiful the collection is as well.
Look at that, from trying to sell ties on Fifth Avenue to absolutely investing in racial equity. I would say you go.
Say the equity part again. Say the equity part again. Just say it one more time.
And racial equity. So you go, Polo. That's all I'm saying. All right, here we go. Just go to Hollywood Unlocked if you want to read all about this, or you can say you heard it here on Mocha in the Morning. Mike Tyson is releasing Mike's Bites. These, of course, are edibles.
You do the chomp more, hey?
Well, they're going to be shaped like ears that Evander Holyfield took a bite out of. Right? So you too will be able to chomp on Mike's bites.
Right.
In
case you were underneath a rock, it was the 1997 fight between him and Evander Holyfield, where he took a chomp out of Holyfield's ear. Like, what? Can Evander sue him for that? For like mimicking his ear? Is that considered his presence and likeness?
Well, the thing is, Mike Tyson has been in the cannabis business for a hot minute, but I mean, clever. But I don't know how I feel about it. I wonder what it's going to taste like.
If I'm Evander, though, I want my royalties. If you're going to use my ear, I want my royalties. Okay.
Oh, no. He's like, oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. He did. Oh, yeah. No, it's Mike's ear. Yeah. Yeah, somebody needs to get paid. And
I want my royalties.
Are they going to be wrapped? Are the ears going to be wrapped in like wax paper, or how's this going to, I don't know. Like, well, you can say you heard it here. Mocha in the morning.
Right here.
When they come out, I'm going to send you some. You let me know. Well, that's everything that is happening in Black Hollywood. And I don't know why this week, all this stuff is just really funny to me. Like,
I agree.
I'm still thinking about these bites, these Mike bites.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty soon we're gonna see Mike Tyson show up on Shark Week or something. I don't know. We'll be right back. But that's everything that's happening in Black Hollywood and entertainment. I'm done with Mike Tyson.
Stay tuned for Piping Hot.
And be like, hi, like feel no pain at all. What's up?
If I'm Holyfield, though, I like literally want someone to take a picture of my ear, take a picture of that ear, and I'm suing because I want my money. Welcome back, Mocha Marbles. It's Liz Everett. I'm in for Keisha Boyd today, and it's about to get piping hot in here. Now, you guys know I cannot get through this part without our fabulous Mocha Mavens and Mocha Marbles. So let me introduce to you our fabulous panel today. We will start with senior contributor here on Mocha in the Morning, Kia, welcome back.
I know. What's up, guys? I'm so happy to be here on this beautiful Saturday, and I cannot wait to get into these hot topics. Let's go.
Yes, girl. And next we have Alexia McKay, who is the founder and publisher of Royalty Magazine, journalist and publicist. Welcome.
Hey girl, hey, I am so excited to be here. Happy Saturday. Can't wait to get into all this tea we have to cover, honey.
Yes. And we have a crystal clear vision who, darling, corporate professional, I mean, Army combat veteran and serial entrepreneur girlfriend. Yes, bring it all to us, Crystal.
Hey, y'all. Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's a beautiful Saturday. Let's get into it.
Yes. All right. Now we are going to start with Tom Brady. Dun, 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 or yay, whichever way, you want to go with it. Alexia, how are you feeling about Tom Brady retiring, unretiring?
Listen, for one disclaimer, I'm not a big sports person, but I do look at numbers and stats. At this point, what does Brady have to prove? I mean, he has 7 Super Bowl titles, including one here with the Bucs. He leads the NFL in passing yards, touchdowns, regular wins, playoff wins. He's MVP. I mean, at this point, he really has nothing else to prove as an athlete. He's already solidified his legacy. So I think this would have been a great time for him to just throw in the towel, call it a day. But him returning, I mean, it's cool and all, but now you're officially old man Brady to me. I mean, I'm sorry, you're old man Brady, and that's that. I mean, I think it's personally time to move over and let someone else come and build their own legacy. But if that means that the Bucks are going to get another Super Bowl, then cool. But if not, then like I said, he's already proven enough to me.
Yes. All right, Crystal, where are you at on this topic?
Yeah, so I'm not much of a sports fan. I understand what Brady did, but the bigger picture is that he came to Tampa and set Tampa on fire. If you are looking to buy something or you're struggling with rent, good luck, because the prices, they're high now. They're only going to get higher when he comes back here to throw a pigskin.
Yes, he is taking those metrics to the next level. Now, Kia.
Yes.
Where you
but really quick before I go into being funny, Crystal's right. I know about 3 or 4 people who actually bought houses, nice size houses in Mineola, Claremont, and commute to Tampa because the housing market is so crazy there. And that's a good 45-minute drive from where I live to get to Tampa. But listen, he's only been retired for, what has it been, maybe a month and a half. He got tired of being a full-time dad, full-time husband, driving kids to soccer practice, doing different things. That was boring and whack. He didn't want to do that. Who wants to be around their family for that amount of time? Nobody. So he'd rather get beat up by men on the field, yelled at by coaches, wear ice, sleep in an ice bath to survive than be around his family and be a full-time dad. As a full-time mom, I kind of get it. So, yeah.
I can't. But yeah, I mean, and it probably is like all the things he knows, you know what I mean? And coming back to that. So, hey, God bless you, Tom Brady. Okay. Now let's get into Naomi Osaka and addressing her heckler. Oh my God. Kia, fill us in.
Yeah, so Naomi Osaka was at Indian Wells, which is in California. It's a tournament. She was playing a girl whose name starts with a V. I'm not even going to try to butcher this poor child's name, but she lost the match. But during the match, while it was dead silent, somebody yelled out, "Naomi, you suck." And this to me is just so inappropriate on so many levels. But the main one being people have gotten out from quarantine, are now back at these sporting events and do not know how to act. Tennis and golf are the 2 sports where you cannot just yell out stuff like that when it's quiet. They want quiet for a reason. And then before COVID, it seemed like they would escort you out right away. But this person was allowed to stay. We can't find them. I mean, it is crazy to me that she has to deal with, any athlete has to deal with this type of stuff. I mean, the girl's name is, no, I'm not pronouncing that either. Veronica Kudermetova.
It sounded like coup d'etat for a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but yeah, it was just, I just feel bad for her because she's dealing with that kind of stuff. And she actually asked the umpire to take the mic and address the crowd about this type of behavior. So people, you can't act right on planes. You can't act right at sporting events. Really quick, remember when LeBron was getting heckled at a basketball game about them killing his son or threatening his son? It's crazy.
Truly. Crystal, tell us a little bit more about your perspective.
I think one of the key things that we're missing here is the assault on Black and brown bodies, right? Whereas we have these people who have risen to fame and stardom by doing a sport, but they're still essentially enslaved and being treated that way, right? And I think it's very important that they are standing up and saying, you're not going to talk to me like that just because you paid a ticket to come, and be a spectator at what I do. And it's very courageous, in my opinion, for Naomi to, when she backed out previously, like, we don't have to tolerate this, and I'm not doing it. And I like it. I love it. I'm for it.
Absolutely. Now, Alexia, let's get into Jane. That's Jane. Okay. With her saying that, she's apologizing now to Serena and Venus for making the remark during her acceptance speech where she basically said that they don't have to work as hard as her. So, I mean,
because they don't play against the guys like she does.
Okay. But
let's just get in the bigger picture here. What I'm seeing is like a pattern. What makes it okay when white women make these comments? It's okay to say it, but like I was right, I was justified in it. I didn't feel any wrong into it until someone brings attention to it, like, hey, that was wrong, that's messed up. Oh my gosh, I apologize. I didn't mean it like the way I said it. And that's pretty much the situation that I'm seeing here. At the end of the day, it never should have been something that should have been said or should have been acknowledged. And when those situations happen, we need to stop giving people like this grace and be like, oh, it's okay, brush it off the shoulder. No, it's not okay. It's not okay to make comments like this and get away with it. It's not okay for you to think it's okay until someone makes you accountable for it. And so it was a totally inappropriate comment, inappropriate situation. Take your win. Thank you. Bye. Their names should have never been in your intercepted speech at all.
Yes, times 20. Absolutely. Now, let's speak about more debauchery, shall we say, on a microphone in front of people. Kia, can we jump into this John Cleese thing with his slavery remarks?
We can try. Again, John Cleese is a comedian and he's an actor, and he was on a panel with another Black comedian person at South by Southwest. South by Southwest was a very, very big 2-week conference. It's a huge platform. And he was basically saying that British people have also been oppressed and we should be a part of the Oppression Olympics, was kind of his vibe. And he said that he had given that, with slavery, it was a free passage, like a free passage to London and free passage to the United States. And the entire room gasped. Like, it's an audible gasp. If you watch the video, it's an audible, and then everybody goes silent. And he tried to get away from that. And then he made another comment when then South by Southwest was just like, okay, we're just going to take your mic. You can sit here, but we're going to take your mic. You're done. And it's just like, white people, you don't have to say this stuff. I know everybody's brain has a process. You think it, and then your brain goes, I don't really think this is a good idea. Like, listen to that second voice saying, this isn't the best thing to say. It's not going to come off well. I mean, it's just not. Just stop. Please stop.
I mean, I feel like we're almost laughing to keep from crying, because when people say like this, why does it always come back to this? I can tell you why, because stuff like this keeps happening. But anyways,
y'all keep bringing it up and don't want us to have a reaction to it. You want to heckle us at sporting events and then we can't be emotional. You then want to say things on stages about us, but then, we should just brush it off our shoulders. And you then make super racist jokes right next to us and we're just supposed to go, oh, it's okay. He's just being funny.
Not to mention, he has a documentary coming out called John Cleese Cancel Me.
Well, honey, congratulations.
I mean, he's clearly looking for that type of feedback.
Right.
Like, I'm speechless. Like, I'm not a speechless person, but I am absolutely speechless in this space. Going to another place that I'm super speechless is Jussie Smollett. Like, thank you, next. But since we're talking about it, I mean, Crystal, where, yeah.
Yeah, so I think
won the coin toss for this one. I won the coin toss to go first for this
Go ahead,
one.
you can go.
Okay, go, Kia.
To all of our listeners, we were about to play rock, paper, scissors about who goes first on this one, on this comment. But I will make mine quick. The reason Jussie has a lot of nerve. He tried to wrap himself up in the Black flag to get all of us to be on his side. He's tried to wrap himself in the LGBTQIA flag. That's not working. He now has people like Tina Lawson, Taraji P. Henson, all on here comparing him to Emmett Till and other Black men who have been falsely accused. And his whole narrative is getting away from the main issue. This man staged a hate crime for his own purpose to get attention. It was fake. He then continued to lie about it, continued to change his story about it. He could have just apologized and said, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. He didn't. Now, every time someone has something happen to them, let's say a Black woman is raped by a white cop. Let's say a Black person is falsely accused of something. Let's say a real hate crime happens or of somebody. They're going to say, well, it could be a Smollett situation. It could be a Jussie situation. That devalues all the work that we have been doing to try to get people to pay attention to real things that are happening. I'm done.
I agree. I think so while all those things are true, Kia, I think it's also important to call out, right? Like, Chicago PD does not have the best reputation. So while his track record does speak for itself, like, he did like fabricate all of these things, But I think his fear of going into the jail, right, at Chicago is valid. I think it's a valid concern for any person of color, except for you.
Not valid. That whole
yeah.
thing of him being worried about that he might die or somebody might kill him in prison. The cops aren't that mad at you. They just want you to stop. They want you to stop and shut the H up, and you won't. Like this whole performative thing of I'm not going to commit suicide. I'm not going to kill myself, sweetie. No one cares. No one cares.
Lexi,
no one cares.
Where are you at on this, Lex?
I mean, Kia, I have to side with you on this one because it's really like the little black boy who cried wolf or whatnot. And it's a slap in the face to the progression that we want to see from the media when it comes to Black and brown crimes, when it comes to rape and things like that. If we want the media to pay attention to us, so for you to stage this kind of incident, it pretty much throws us back a few notches. And the celebrities who are supporting him, instead of supporting him, call him out on his bull. If you love him, like you say, like, listen, Jesse, you were wrong. Bruh, you were wrong. Apologize, stop this, and move on. Don't do it again. Instead of standing beside him. And the Emmett Till thing was a little extreme to me. Actually, a lot of extreme. And it's just a messy situation. I can't stand with Jesse on this. I'm sorry. I'm with him. Like, you need to be held accountable for your fakeness, for your lies. I mean, it's like a kind
really quick. I think it's a lot of people are acting like he got 10 years in prison. He got 150 days.
He got 150 days in jail, 30 months probation, $25,000 fine. What is it? Over $120,000 in restitution. Look, do your little time. Do your little time out, because that's really what it is. A time out in the corner. When we think about an overall picture of Black men being incarcerated, prison, and things like that, you really got let off kind of pretty okay to me. Do your time, shut up, and mind your business. Don't do this crap again. Moving on.
Well, yeah, okay. So there's that. Next, we're going to move on to Black Panther's director, Ryan Coogler, who was mistaken for a bank robber. I just want to point out real quick that
everybody doing the Black woman sigh and shaking their head back and forth.
Like, what? Like, Bank of America does have an app and you can schedule those withdrawals, but whatever. Crystal.
I was literally just about to say the same thing, right? So for me, it's kind of the double-edged sword, right? Like, he should be a private banking client. He should have been able to schedule that pickup and get that in marked or unmarked, however he wants it, walk out the back door, no issue. On the other side, there are specific process and protocols that this teller just did not follow. And had she followed the protocol, none of this would have happened. This could have ended in this man's life being taken from him. So I think that, Bank of America did come back and say, right, like, we apologize, and he was okay with that apology. There has to be some type of retraining or repercussion for this teller who wildly ignored what the protocol is.
1,000%. And to add to that, the teller was Black, but okay. Okay. Finally we move into something that's a little bit happier, which I'm super excited about. I'd love, of course, to know what you guys think as well, which is Stacey Abrams kicking off the next phase of her campaign with a rally in Atlanta. Oh, it just gives me so much hope, you guys. Alexia, where are you at on this joyous occasion?
I'm so excited to see Stacey on the road. And I mean, thanks to Stacey, it's because that's the reason Georgia is blue. And so to have her, is Georgia ready for a Black female governor? I don't know. We will see. I think it's a bold move and it can happen, but I'm just excited to see her out there.
Same. Kia, how about you?
Great. We all know she was robbed when she ran for governor previously, and she did not just go off in silence or have a sex scandal like some people's governor's options.
Cough, cough.
Cough, cough. Anyway, she went off and continued the good work. She really pushed for, change in voting, getting people out to vote. She spoke on important issues. She didn't just go dying off into the night. So I really feel like now is her time. Like Lexi said, that Georgia is now blue. So I think this will be great. But I hope that she hires Liz Everett as a stylist because she needs it.
Yes, your image is very important. Yeah, it's the visual narrative. That's the whole next show. Alexia, how about you? How are you feeling on this?
We're still on a sense. Are we still on a census? Or are we still talking about Stacey?
You know what? We're on both apparently, because first of all, I got so excited about Stacey, I skipped.
Oh, you skipped it.
Oh, we will continue talking about Stacey, but let's, these two things definitely fit together, right? Because, the census is definitely underrepresenting Black, Latino, and Native American people, and one of the things that Stacey has been fighting for is representation, equity, all of those things. So let's take a second and let's dip into the census before we continue to talk about Stacey. Kia, where are you at on the census?
I think it's very important, and I want to bring up something interesting that I don't think anybody ever noticed. Have you ever filled out an application or something for a job, and under, I think it's ethnicity, it just says non-Latino or white, or Latino and white? There's no other option. It's these types of things need to be changed so that we're properly accounted for jobs and, welfare and this and that, because it has it so much as, Black people are also on welfare. No. Only this amount of people apply for these jobs. No, we need more accurate information so that not only proper resources can be spread around, but also so that, we can be seen in the light that we deserve.
Yeah, clearly, for real. Yes, in every way. Crystal, how are you feeling about this census and the lack of representation?
I think, unfortunately, the lack of representation is something that, we have come accustomed to. It's definitely something that we need to address. I think people are doing their part in their different lanes to try to tackle representation. Specifically with Stacey, I want her, to show up and spread out. You know what I mean? Open the door, prop it open, and tell everybody to come through. And I think that that's very, very important as well, to help with that representation and have people see us in those different perspectives.
I definitely have to agree. Now, let me ask you guys, right? Now, we're talking about, representation. We're talking about federal representation, right? A lot of people go for governor for one term and then run for president. Is that something that you think Stacey Abrams will do?
I think she definitely should. Do I think that they will allow it to happen?
Yeah. Kia, where are you at on whether or not Stacey should run for president?
Cool. I'm okay. I'm gonna take a hard pass on that. Now, I mean, I think she needs to be. I think governor is great. I just think this is gonna sound so bad. I just don't see her on the world stage. If being president meant you only stayed in the United States, you handle all the US stuff, cool. I just do not see her on the world stage. And I don't want to have to now, all Black women across the world, we now got to take battle arms up because somebody over there has made some racist comment because she's, a Black woman, a larger Black woman. And I just don't want to see her have to go through that world stage. Do you get what I'm saying? How it's safe at home, and then when you go out, I don't think she's ready for that. I don't think we are. That's just me.
I do think that is another mental health area, that you really are talking about. Again, we're going back to the place of image. It's a lot on there. Lex, what are your thoughts about it?
I agree with Kia. I don't think we as a culture and a country, I don't think we're ready for that just yet. And I mean, we see what the world did to Obama, with President Obama, when he first came out.
He was fine. A fine Black man, and they were still nasty.
Yeah, still nasty to him. So I can't even imagine what they would do to a Black woman on a world stage. I think what Stacey is doing now in Georgia, yes, is Georgia kind of going towards the right steps to getting her in position to be governor? Yes. Take advantage of it while she has the full control of it? Yes. But as far as being in the White House,
guys, Kamala Harris is supposed to be the perfect image of what a Black woman should be, and they still call her a hoe on a regular basis and call her stupid.
Well, you heard it first here on Mocha in the Morning. Well, listen, we got into it today, guys. We always tell you, but first coffee, you definitely got your coffee and your tea today and piping hot topics. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you, Crystal, Alexia, and Kia. You guys brought it to the table. Hope each and every one of you have enjoyed watching this with us. Mocha Marbles will be right back.
Hi there, Mocha Marbles. Hi there, Mocha Verse. This is Shalette Davis, your super producer and event diva. I'm just doing this really quick bold roast segment today because I'm really here with my sister, another Davis, Miss Donna Davis. I've known Donna for a number of years here in the Tampa Bay area doing various social justice and racial justice work. And we just recently went on that really great trip to Montgomery and Selma. And this girl was working while we were on the bus. And I have been impressed by her since the first moment I met her. And I just want to introduce her to you, the Mocha in the Morning audience. So without further ado, I would like to introduce my favorite political consultant, Miss Donna Davis. Donna, welcome. Welcome to Mocha in the Morning.
Thank you. Now you'll give a girl the big head with an introduction like that.
Well, I've been quite impressed by you from the moment we did a virtual event together for our audience at the Portico in Hyde Park United Methodist. I've been impressed with you since the first moment I met you. And it's probably because it makes my little political heartstrings, DC roots, kind of like my heart goes flutter. And I love to see people still in the movement because it takes a strong person to do it. Share with our audience what it is that you have done with your career in political consulting and some of the movements you've been a part of and some of the movements that you're currently involved in now in 2022.
Well, Shalette, I think I have forgotten more work than I remember, but I'm going to do my best today. I started out working with Move On, I think in the early 2000s as a much younger person. And it was George Bush at the time. And it just really got under my skin. I couldn't stand what he was doing. I couldn't stand the way he was shutting down the public discourse. So I was a stay-at-home mom with a young kid at the time. So I jumped into it and I got involved. Roll forward 2007 and 8, the mayor taps me to be mayor of Denver, Wellington Webb, says, "Hey, I need you on Hillary Clinton's campaign." I'm like, I'm a deer in headlight. You're talking about professional work, organizing 300,000 registered Democrats in Denver proper, and not just organizing, backyard barbecues that Move On came up with. And so that began my career in earnest in field work as a field operative in the political arena. I worked with Billionaires for Bush, where we did street theater, and it was fun. But it was also very difficult. It's a very difficult place to work. If you're a sincere person, politics can test you. And that's all I'll say about that without disparaging my countrymen, right? But roll forward, I'm in New York City. I'm trying to escape. I went and studied respiratory therapy. I'm trying to escape political consulting and field work. And of course, I run smack dab into it. And anybody that studies Eastern philosophy knows that's exactly what happens, right? You pray, and if you're a Christian, you pray for strength and you get tested. So yes. I'm back in it again. I just want a part-time job knocking on doors. I don't want to sit behind the desk. I don't want to tell people what to do. And that's exactly what happened. They got my resume and they said, hey, they called up the guy who ran the Colorado campaign. And he said, yeah, hire her. I didn't think I was good on that campaign. Anyway, now I'm working for Grassroots. And at that time, it was a very large organization with roots in Minneapolis. The principal now of a smaller Grassroots founded Camp Wellstone. It was actually his master's thesis. And so Sean Gagan. And so I'm literally working for the father of progressive organizing. If one, he would definitely frown on that. But there are a lot of people who wouldn't, who understand his role. And so I've been working with them for over a decade, and I've worked in probably 20 states. I've lived in 28 states, mostly as a consequence of this work over the last 20 years.
That's the work.
Recently, 2019, I was on the national team for Amy Klobuchar. So why do you work for Klobuchar? Because Bernie didn't call me. So yeah, you can't put yourself in where you're not.
And this is what I know. Campaign life is not for the faint of heart. You go where the work is. And that's exactly what you did. Very good.
Right. And as long as it's not Republicans, I'm good.
Amen.
And so I have worked in Florida extensively. Florida tests my last nerve, but I have overseen more than 3 million door knocks in my career, supervised 3 million door knocks. I have overseen the registration of 100,000 people in the state of Florida. Now, what you need to know about that is if we've registered 100,000, we turned in 100,000 cards to Tallahassee, and we're still losing elections by 10, 30,000 votes. We have a voter turnout problem. Voter apathy is at the core of what we're being confronted with right now in this work. People don't think their vote counts. The pain has gotten so deep, it's lasted for so long that people no longer trust the process. They no longer believe they live in a democracy. And there are those like Chris Hedges who would say, we no longer have any democratic institutions left in this society. And many would argue that, but it's looking grim. Shalette.
Yeah, I agree. And I said this this season on the show to really pay attention to what's happening now beyond this Selma Jubilee. Selma Jubilee was a great kind of kickoff point to a national get out the vote effort. Like, guys, we have to turn out the vote this year. Midterms mean something.
Right.
And in terms of that, what do you have to share with our audience in terms of what's coming up with the importance of GOTV, get out the vote, and midterms?
So I think that historically, what you see in years like in a midterm year when we've elected a Democratic president, you see some power changing hands at the midterm. And I know no one wants to hear that. I spoke at the Dole Institute in Kansas a few months back when I finished police reform work in Minneapolis. And I had to tell people when they asked us for our predictions, I had to tell people that I felt like the midterms were going to be less than productive. I believe I specifically said a bloodbath. I don't want to be moribund. But we have some tests ahead of us as a party, mostly because we've alienated such a large segment of younger and more progressive voters. Now, notice I split that because we often harp on age, but this country is definitely divided along ideological lines, and you can see the division of age, but there are many people who wanted these progressive measures, systems to be instituted in the 60s. Those people are still there. They're still supporting Bernie. All of those people did support Bernie's platform. They support a third party, a viable third party. It was young people that didn't believe that we could get there. Now that didn't show up. We couldn't get the voter turnout, but we simply must have young people head to the polls this go around. We saw it in Atlanta. It was very critical in the election of Warnock and Ossoff that young people, my nieces and nephews, voted for the first time. So what we're doing along those lines right now is, I've done a lot of work with the movement, but I realized that unless we have people in the White House that are interested in instituting progressive measures and protective measures for BIPOC, for women they're still not a protected class. The ERA has still not been, has it not been adopted?
Say it again. Say it again. The ERA.
Women are not a protected class, and the ERA has still not been enacted. In all of these years since Gloria Steinem, all of these badass women, I don't know if I can cuss on here, but all of these women did all of this work all the way back to suffragettes, and women are still not a protected class when they are clearly Department of Justice will tell you that women are discriminated against and that the pay gap is real, and we're still not there. So what we're doing in our little corner of the world is we've created an organization. This is Florida Council of Churches, Black Lives Matter Tampa, and some other partner organizations. And I can't give you the list because we're not done adding partners. What we've done is we've created an organization called Truth Corps. We tested it in November. We took kids as young as 8 and 11, to the Capitol to tell their stories of how politics impacts them, how legislation impacts them, how their education is impacted by the legal wars that go on around charter schools versus, receiving public school dollars, and whether or not we're going to end public schools. Are we looting the public school treasury? Kids are in those conversations in my world because I make sure those kids are in those conversations. There's no way that we can, teachers are saying, have a lot to say about the state of education. I'm not sure that we're listening to kids. So we took them up there, and the kids had a press conference and they told their stories. And then this summer, right now we're doing training in the classroom with the kids, civic engagement, not a lot of civic engagement being taught in public schools right now.
A shame, an absolute shame.
So kids don't know, kids are not growing up to become savvy consumers of the political product. And that has to do with the fact that they don't understand the checks and balances in the branches. They don't understand the function of the branches. They don't understand how the inequities in the judicial branch come to weigh upon certain groups that they may be a part of. With queer kids, Black kids, Indigenous kids, Latin kids, immigrant children of all races are not being taught to vote their own interest. When you add that to the disillusion and the sense of abandonment that Americans in the Rust Belt, mostly white, have felt over the past 15 years, left out of the conversation, meeting with, and I don't want to be mean, a fate that wasn't necessarily met for them, economic fates that weren't met for them. And we see diseases of despair, methamphetamine. We've traveled the country and tried to have these conversations to bring Americans back into caring about what happens in DC. And that's been very difficult. But these children are on fire, and they want, like kids are, the way the kids are built, they want to understand it, and they want to have impact. We're taking these kids out into a camp in Alachua, outside Gainesville, this summer, 50 kids from around the state. And we're going to train those kids to go back to their respective counties and lead, and to raise issues that are important in their communities, and to have impact, and to inform the emerging electorate how to vote their interests so that we can change the world.
I'm really encouraged about that. This is Truth Corps, and we'll drop more information in the group chat about this and how you can get involved as an audience member, or share this with someone that you know would benefit from programming like this. Now, before I let you go, I need you to tell our audience members about here in the state of Florida and what's been happening with this Don't Say Gay movement. The bill's already been passed. That's already been done, if you weren't paying attention. But I saw you do the work, like literally the day after we got off the bus. We had already been to Tallahassee. Saw Representative Driscoll recognized in the gallery that she turned around and brought a group back to Tallahassee, making the news once again. What do you want to tell our audience about this Don't Say Gay movement and why it's important to us?
So first of all, as a Black woman born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, gotta do it. I will tell you that Floridians need to stand up and say, we can't have it. We can't have it. I know that the Black church has had a lot to say about whether or not being gay is valid or legitimate. What we're asking is human beings These are your family members. These are your choir directors, right? These are your friends, your neighbors. These are not someone out there with some designation that deserves to be ostracized. These are human beings living in our society next door to us. Once upon a time, I'll say this to all the Black folk that might be listening, that may be struggling with this and saying, well, we don't need to teach kids about being gay. Well, you don't have to teach kids about being gay. Gay people have always been in our communities. They've always been in our churches. They've always been in our schools and our communities. People be gay. That's how it works, folks. So if you want to be safe in your own society, and you don't want to be discriminated against yourself, it's vital that you stand up when other human beings' civil rights are being challenged. Now, this Don't Say Gay bill, that's me from Donna Davis, little Black girl from Jacksonville, saying that to my fellow Floridians. Now, what I will say about this bill is that it says that in K through third grade, you cannot say or talk about anything that alludes that people are gay in our society, right? So we can't talk about two dads. Exactly. I remember very clearly when my son was a little boy and he said, Mom, look, there are two men kissing. And I said, they're boyfriends, honey. They love each other. Let's go, right? Like that. I wanted him to understand it's not something that requires any more explanation than a girl and a boy kissing each other. Amen. So that it doesn't become something that he thinks that he has to think about too hard or disapprove of or develop strong opinions about. Boys and girls love each other. And sometimes it's a boy and a boy and a girl and a girl and a boy and a boy. And that's how we did that. When I asked my son at 17, if he really understood his gender or sexuality, he said, I'm still working it out. And I was so happy because that's a testament to the fact that he grew up in a home where whatever he grew to become or whatever he said, I am, was going to be okay in that home. And I would love to see more parents making their home safe for their GLBTQ kids. So this bill says we can't talk about it. If a kid comes to school and they have two parents, or if a kid sees two parents that are of the same gender in the school courtyard or at the school pageant play, that nobody can talk about that. If the kid asks the teacher can't talk about that. If a kid themselves, as kids as young as 7, say, hey, I'm gay, they can't talk about that in school. If they do, and the teacher indulges that conversation, that teacher can be reported, turned in, and potentially prosecuted and or fired. And so when you start making people report on their fellows, when you tell children that they can't be who they are, when you make people unsafe in their homes and their schools, you're moving toward the type of society that absolutely no one wants to live in, except people are flooding into Florida. Why are they flooding into Florida? They're coming here for protected bigot status and sunshine.
Girl, you just said a mouthful. So I wish we could continue this conversation a lot longer, but I think you've broken it down for us quite well. It sounds like don't ask, don't tell to me. It's a little bit like don't ask, don't tell. And did we overturn that? Did we not overturn it? Like, I don't know why we would want to go backwards, but like you said, there are a lot of what do you call it? Relocating bigots that are coming to the state.
And can I say this one thing? Can I say this one last thing? You asked me for a call to action. My call to action is, you know what? Talk to your Aunt Gertie when she starts saying bigoted things at the family event, right? Whether you're at Rosh Hashanah, whether you're at St. Patty's Day, whether you're at Kwanzaa, when your relatives who have bigoted tendencies start saying those things, it's not harmless. They're hurting someone with that outside of that room. Talk to the people close to you. When people say those things in the workplace and at school, talk to them. Don't let them get away with it. Let's not normalize this. It's not normal.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much, Donna Davis. We have to have you back, not because, we share the same last name and we've been through some things, but because you are a brilliant mind that needs to be shared with our Mochaverse. So thank you again. Come again. Okay.
I will.
All right. Well, guys, stay tuned for more Mocha in the Morning. And thank you so much for tuning into this Bold Roast with political consultant Donna Davis. Stay tuned.
All right, Mocha Marbles, that does it for this week. I want to say thank you to Keisha Boyd for letting me sit in for her. And as always, our Cafe Con Leche, Jorge,
Yeah, that was
for being such an
fun.
awesome co-host.
Well, thank you so much for doing double duty. But I know we have to hurry up and rush you off camera because your show is coming up next. What are we talking about on the Fab Lab?
Oh my gosh, what aren't we talking about on the Fab Lab? Okay, if it's the fashion tea, then it's for me. But we are talking about how to make it in fashion this week. So we've got a great interview with Tiffany Gifford, who styles celebrities like Miranda Lambert, who's literally given us the rundown on what it takes to become a celebrity stylist. So, you know, we're always giving you
I love that.
the front row at the fashion show on the Fab Lab.
And we also have the Valtrenda show coming up after your show on the Mocha Media Network. Thank you, Mocha Marbles, for watching. We are wrapping up our season 5.
Incredible. So exciting. And thank you to all of our sponsors as well, and to each and every one of you. And make sure you follow us on Instagram at Mocha Morning
Show.
Yes, Mocha Morning Show.
Just don't get the please come on. Not back